What I think is one of the most amazing things about your journey is you had a beautiful baby boy. Tell us a little bit
Yes.
about your son.
So my son, he'll actually be 2 in a couple weeks, and he's just like everything to me. But going through the pregnancy with Crohn's and having him wasn't as extensive as I thought it would be. I know it's different for every mom, but my Crohn's actually reversed when I had my son, but I was still on my medication. When I found out I was pregnant, I was 6 weeks, and I had a flare up that week. And I learned that sometimes at the 6 week mark, when you have flare-ups, you can actually have a miscarriage. I remember like it was yesterday. I was at my mom's house and I was in my bed, crunched up, just crying and just asking God, like, please, like, please let me just get through this moment. And of course, now I have my beautiful baby boy. So I was super grateful about that.
You expressed a little bit,
Yeah.
but how concerned were you having IBD and being pregnant?
I was concerned that I would pass it along to my son. I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to have a healthy pregnancy.
Did you or your baby experience any health issues?
And as soon as I actually had him, I ended up going into flare. As far as like during the pregnancy, he never developed. He was healthy. Every time I went to the doctor's appointment, they were like, oh, he's doing great. I was mainly concerned about him more than I was about me with my pregnancy. But I think that's just the mom. That was just the instinct of the mom.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, this sounds like the average awesome mom.
Yeah.
Does he have to have checkups or get checked out, for Crohn's?
Yeah. He doesn't, but the mom in me, I just make sure that I just don't give him the things that I can't have or not too much of, because I just don't want to trigger it if it is hereditary. When you're young and no one knows about Crohn's disease, no one's really talking about diet when you're 15 years old. So when I did have my son, I just wanted to make sure that I'm making his food. So for like the first year, I made his food, I made his purees, and I actually enjoyed it. I did breastfeed as well for 16 months just to make sure that he was getting his health aligned as much as I could. If I can prevent anything, I just wanted to make sure that I was doing my part as a parent.
What was something that you wish you knew before pregnancy?
I am on a Facebook group for support. I've been on there actually for 15 years. I'm in one of the Crohn's groups, but I didn't lean on other moms who had Crohn's disease. And I think I should have did that more so than just trying to stay strong. That's definitely one thing that I would change if I was to have another kid.
Oh, that's good. So Deanna, who or what did you trust the most when it came to making decisions for you and your baby during your pregnancy?
If I could be super transparent, literally God, I will always pray and just make sure that God would align me with the right people in my path. And I knew the Crohn's journey like the back of my hand, but I didn't know about it with being pregnant. So I definitely leaned on God the most. And my doctor, I went to my doctor. I would call his nurse all the time, leaving voice messages like, hey, is this okay? I'm going through this. Will it affect the baby? And they were super knowledgeable about it. So I was super happy to depend on my doctor.
So as a mom, how do you manage your time and prioritize your tasks?
So now I manage my time by just creating lists, leaning really heavy on my support system. So when I'm having those down days or I'm not able to show up for me, let alone for my family, just having that support system of them coming in and taking charge so that I can complete those different tasks, or really just cater to my Crohn's as the task for the day. Even though I leaned on support with my Crohn's, I didn't know how to ask for help. Whether I knew how to ask for help from my doctor, but the day-to-day life, I didn't know how to ask for that. Dealing with Crohn's is really just an all hands on deck moment, especially when I first had my son. I had my first flare up. As much as it hurt to pass my baby along and just really just focus on myself, in that moment, I really just had to just get everyone together and just say, hey, I really need you guys to come and support me as I'm going through this flare. When you need help, ask for help. When you can't do it, then you can't do it. Being a super mom, I've learned is not really what you want to do, as far as especially dealing with a chronic disease. You just really just need to have that support and even if you have to create that support. I know it's hard for some people. So I've
Absolutely.
just really just been a lot more vocal and just telling people like, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And this is me. And if you're able to accept that and help me, then we can definitely go from there.
So if you could give any advice to someone else that is suffering from Crohn's, what would you say to them?
I would tell them not to give up, because it's so many times where I've just been on the floor, cramped up, having a flare up, and just thinking that I would never have a baby, thinking that I would never have a lifestyle that I wanted to live, and just know your worth. I think a lot of times when we have the Crohn's disease, and we kind of put ourselves in a box that we're not worthy of having a lifestyle, that we're just worthy of taking the medication and going to the hospital and the doctors, and this is our life. But actually knowing your worth and knowing that you're valuable and that you matter, just that's probably the best thing that I could have ever received, because I put myself in a box so quick, not having a childhood, not going to the college that I wanted to go to, and not thinking that I would have any kids. I was just like, well, this is me, this is my life. But knowing that I actually matter, knowing my worth, and knowing that I'm Deanna and I can do anything, just
Yes.
really just did something to me.